The Digital Photography Cafe show is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe show. Join host Trevor Current and Joseph Cristina as they serve up the hottest photography news and commentary.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 206. I'm Joseph Cristina here with my co-host Trevor Current. On last week's show, we talked about the Sony Alpha A6300 mirrorless camera, the brand new G Master lenses, and Adobe adds 100,000 4K video clips to its stock collection. If you haven't watched last week's show, I encourage you to do so. You can find it at digitalphotographycafe.com and our YouTube channel, youtube.com/dphotocafe. Listen with the popular Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox Music apps, or subscribe through iTunes or RSS.
Hey, we are back. How you doing, my friend?
Doing well. Not bad. It's another week.
Yeah, it's another week. Lots of news this week. A lot of interesting stuff, actually.
WPPI is right around the corner, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Beginning of March, right?
Yeah, so there's a lot of news. We're going to see a lot of press releases coming out before then. So there's going to be a lot of news in the next couple of weeks going on. So
yeah,
that's sure. When you guys are going to be getting a lot of news.
That's right. And we actually have a little something special coming up for WPPI as well. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. So let's jump right into it. We're going to try to do these 20-minute shows instead of going on 30, 40, 50 minutes. So let's go and jump right into it right away.
Yeah. So we've got an issue with Adobe Creative Cloud.
What else is new?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, we've always complained about the issue of the subscription price, but we actually have a problem now with Creative Cloud deleting files off of your Mac. If you're on a Mac, you're using Creative Cloud at the root directory level. Creative Cloud is actually going in and deleting files out of your hard drive.
Can you imagine that? Yeah, it's just crazy. Yeah, guys. So it's kind of interesting. I find it odd that Adobe would be deleting anything off your computer, period. Yeah. I don't know what that could be for. I don't know what the original idea was, why they stuck that in there. Why is that code even in there to delete anything? So,
it's a bug in version 3.5.0.206.
Right.
So if you're running that version, which I guess is the latest version, you need to be aware of this. And apparently there's a bug. It's going in to your root level. Actually, Backblaze discovered this and kind of was reporting on it. Backblaze, if you're not familiar, they are an online backup company. They have software, syncs your computer, you back up your stuff into the cloud. So that what was happening is they dump a folder, Backblaze dumps a folder on your hard drive. And it's utilized for your backups and stuff. Well, it starts with a dot and then a B is the name of the folder at the root.
Right.
So what it does is it moves that folder to the very top of your root. So people that are using Backblaze were actually having files deleted out of their Backblaze folders. So they did a little more digging and they found that whatever your top alphabetical order folder is, that is the folder that gets affected. Just so happens that Backblaze was the top for some.
Yeah, since theirs is .b, if you have this problem, you can put in a .a anything and just leave that folder blank with nothing in it, and you won't. Right. It's kind of a way to circumvent this problem, but that is a way to do it. So, or you can probably do a hashtag or like a £.
Yeah, just something, a folder name that's going to move it to the top. And make sure you got to check your invisible folders because you have a lot of invisible folders that you don't even see in your Mac directory. So you have to go to your settings there to show all of your invisible folders.
Yeah, hidden files.
Yep. And then you'll be able to go in and then they say for right now, Adobe has actually acknowledged that this is an issue and they've kind of said that, they are no longer allowing this version to be downloaded. So if you are running an older version, you're fine. They're going to patch it, of course, and then push it out. But the workaround for right now is basically add another folder to your root directory that is the number one in the alphabetical order, whatever you have to do to make that happen, basically, and then it will delete files from inside of that empty folder and not affect the rest of your files.
Right. That's definitely definitely problematic.
Yeah, that's problematic.
It's just weird. And like I said, I know they're saying it's a glitch or a bug or whatever, but why would they be deleting anything out of your root, your root directory? I don't even understand that. And then even possibly deleting hidden files. Hidden directories in your root directory too. I don't get it. There must be something going on there.
It probably has something to do with the synchronization between the cloud and your desktop, and clearing out files and adding in new files. And
yeah, it's possible.
Probably just some glitch in the software that's causing it to go to the top folder as opposed to, let's say, the Adobe folder.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So moving on. I mean, you guys know that the photo industry as a, let's say, holistically have been not doing so well, right? As a whole, it's just kind of been a little bit going on let's say a south pattern instead of a north swing.
Right.
So, we're kind of seeing that now with KelbyOne. Most of us know what KelbyOne, who Kelby is, and KelbyOne is their training division, and they do a lot of, they do online stuff, they do online training, they do seminars, they do, conferences stuff, and all kinds of training stuff. And they are, I guess, laying off as of today, tomorrow, a lot of people, right? Big names too.
Yeah. Pete Collins, RC Concepcion, Brad Moore, Mia McCormick, to name a few. They're some of Kelby's big name.
Yeah, those trainers. Are like their core people.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen RC at numerous trade shows that we've been at, and basically, they are out of a job, and it is. Primarily due to the changing climate of the photography industry.
Right.
We can say that there's a lot of different causes for it or whatever, but fact of the matter is KelbyOne as a training unit was probably losing money and needed to cut some people, the high dollar people,
Consolidation, that's it,
And they said they need to refocus to the core of what their business was meant to be.
Yeah, that sounds like a chapter 11 compared to a chapter 7.
Yeah.
Something like that, because it's just gonna, there's only so much money. Once you start bleeding money, right? And that includes you guys with your business. If you have a portrait studio and you notice that the cost of doing business is starting to outweigh the amount of money that you're bringing in every month, and you're all of a sudden negative month after month after month, something has to change. You have to redo something. Maybe you need to expand out of portrait and into wedding, or out of wedding into portrait, or maybe commercial or product, or maybe even, dog photography. Whatever is really big in your area is something that you might want to look into to try to make more money, where if it's not coming the other way. So a lot of people, they kind of get stuck in a rut, so to speak, and they just keep doing the exact same thing and they want to know why they're failing.
Right.
And when you see folks like, here we have KelbyOne, a very smart guy. He knows when it's time to start cutting off some of that the dead branches so we can regrow it from the root.
Right.
The same thing as a chapter 11 compared to chapter 7. We're not going to dig up the tree and go throw it in the garbage, but by pruning it and cutting off all that dead wood, it'll grow stronger, from the base up. So we need to do that also with our business and what we're doing. You need to do it also, Trevor. I know, you're having issues that you're looking into also, and looking into growing into different things. And the same with me. I'm constantly shucking and jiving and changing and, trying to get, once again, where is the dollar coming from, and really kind of hone in on that, and not just get stuck in that rut and keep doing the exact same thing and perpetuate that negative stuff. So
that's right. I mean, the photo industry has obviously become more and more competitive. There's more photographers coming into the business every day. There's more services for those photographers coming in every day. Everybody has more competition, and in order to stand out among that competition, it's really hard. And at some point, KelbyOne probably started losing some of its market share to, let's say, Linda, or any of these other numerous companies, new companies that have come on the scene, providing video training and photography in the photography space. And, they just can't afford to do it. They got really involved doing a lot of podcasts, a lot of video shows, where these photographers were a part of that. And in general, people are not making money off of their podcasts. They use their podcast as a marketing channel, just as very much as like what Joe and I do. We use it as a marketing channel. We don't really directly make a lot of money off of the show, right? So, Kelby has always used his shows as kind of a generation for Photoshop World, for KelbyOne training, and other venues, other entities that he has. And that's it. He's got to know when to evolve. And as we all do, we need to keep that evolution going and move into the next thing. Not always necessarily chasing the latest technology, but keep the ball moving in the right direction,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And especially with our industry, our industry was, hit really hard, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Right.
And it's been, on a downturn ever since. But, look at everyone, there's drone stuff going on that people are making a lot of money capturing drone photography and videography with these things. So, there's always the next thing. You don't want to always chase that next thing, but if it's something that your core, let's say your core of people around you can use, if you're in a very hot real estate location where a lot of properties are selling, well, yeah, go out there and say, listen, I'll do, overhead shots of your house. And now you might end up making, twice as much as you do with your portrait business. So,
but that's all short-lived, because before you know it, everybody's offering some form of drone photography, just like HDR, like
notorious,
DSLR video. I mean, everybody kind of jumped on that, and a lot of people made a lot of big money in the very beginning. And if you continue to try and chase that saturated market, eventually you're just going to find yourself competing on price rather than on creativity. So, you need to be able to evolve.
Exactly. And, talking about that the DSLR video market, a lot of these guys were making a lot of money on pulling focus, because pulling focus was a major issue.
That's right.
Yeah, so they developed all types of rigs for pulling focus that would attach onto your lenses and whatnot.
Yep.
Well, the new Canon just came out, which is the the 80D.
Yep.
And they kind of solved this problem, and once again put these folks that made these focus pulling devices and all of this stuff out of business. Once again, shucking and jiving, everything changes, and it changes very, very quickly.
Yeah. This new camera actually is quite nice. I'm definitely interested in this. I mean, for those photographers who want to, kind of do a hybrid and be able to do video. You're not necessarily looking to do long format video, such as shooting a wedding reception from beginning to end, because DSLRs, as we've said numerous times, really are not meant or designed to do long format video. They're really great for doing clips. And this camera, I'm sure, is about the same. What's nice, though, is they really jacked up this autofocus stuff, right? I mean, 45 cross-type autofocus points. Holy crap. Finally, Canon.
Finally, yes. I mean, Canon is notorious for having, like 9 autofocus points. I mean, it was just ridiculous when Nikon would do double, triple what Canon would do every time they come up with a new body. So this is really good. Guys, this is, the 80D is a prosumer type based camera. I would, it's not quite a 7D line. It's let's say a little bit lower than a 7D, but the features in this camera are, I think they probably could possibly be better than the 7D at this point. It's a 24 megapixel sensor. It shoots from 100 to like 16,000 ISO, which is good. Not bad. But like you said, what's really impressive here is the autofocus system. It really does it well, as far as my understanding. They, the idea here is you can lock in on, let's say, a face, and it will track that face throughout, no matter how you move the camera. It will track that face.
Yeah, it's got continuous autofocus. That's great.
Yeah, continuous autofocus. Now, what they've also added to this was a kit lens. Now, the new kit lens has this new USM motor in it, which is a nanotechnology motor, is what they call it, the nano. And for silent autofocus. And that's really what we're looking for. Years ago, when we want to do, let's say, videography on the very first DSLRs that used to do it, we would send our lenses away to have them made more quiet because they're so loud. You don't have that clicking. They're silent. So now all of a sudden we're starting to see lenses that are specifically for video, or let's call it good for video. And this new lens that just came out is one of those, right?
Yeah, it's an 18 to 135 millimeter EFS. So it's a crop sensor lens.
Right.
But yeah, this has got these nano motors in it that are like super quiet. Bro, I remember back long time ago shooting video with a full-size VHS camera.
Right.
And oh my God, that thing between the autofocus and the power zoom was so loud. Every video I did, it was like wah, 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 in the background. It was just,
it sounded horrible.
It was terrible. But that's the idea here, is that you're not going to pick up that ambient noise. You're not going to get the vibration and stuff. So, which is really cool. I know you're not a big fan of the meandering aperture here, but it's it kind of is what it is.
It's a kit lens, Yeah,
but
you kind of get what you get. It is what it is. 18 to 135 on a crop. That's nice.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to give you some serious zoom. Back to the camera itself. The camera is shooting 7 frames per second, which is really quite quick. It does time lapse photography. It does HDR also within the camera. It's finally getting 60 frames at straight 1080p compared to in the past. 1080p you'd be able to get 30 frames maximum, and you'd have to go down to 720 to be able to get your 60 frames for doing slow-mo or something.
Right.
So this is giving you that 60 frames at full HD 1080p, but they also finally added in Wi-Fi and NFC. Oh my God, right?
Oh my God, yeah. So you don't need the big bulky attachment to slap onto this camera body in order to get your Wi-Fi. So now you actually have it built in. NFC, fantastic. I mean, that opens up a whole new line of possibilities for communicating with your phone, transferring those images from your card in the camera right to your phone, up to social networks. I mean, a lot of capabilities happen with that. So that is really cool. For $1,200 for the body only, I think that is in lines of what we need. For what we're getting for the price, I think that is pretty good.
Yeah, I think we'll see it on Costco shelves soon. I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah. Now, back to the whole idea that we're kind of doing away with folks, especially the people that were making the equipment for pulling focus and whatnot, like we were talking about at the very beginning, regarding the DSLR stuff. Now they have this motor-driven, it's called a PZE-1. And Canon came up with this motor-driven device that actually snaps onto that specific lens, and it's probably going to snap onto other lenses.
Yeah, that are going to be compatible with it. Yeah,
exactly. And now you basically can have your zoom, but absolutely silent zoom.
Yeah,
you have professional zoom,
yep.
Right? Professional power zoom with your DSLR. That is amazing. So now imagine this, guy. So now you have your little adapter for doing your power zoom. That's silent. And so let's say you're set up on a tripod at the back of a church. The bride turns around and starts walking to you. You set it up so it's going to track her face the whole way to you, so you don't have to worry about pulling focus now anymore.
Yep.
And then you have your power zoom, and you go from all the way telephoto to wide slowly. You can set it to either fast or slow. So you set it to slow, and it slowly comes back to you. You would literally have a shot that would be, cinematic, number one, and it would look just like, a high-end professional camera, but now with a literally, $1,199 camera. So
that was damn near impossible to get for the amateur or even the semi-pro because of the focusing and the zooming that you would have to do simultaneously. Which
we would have two. Yeah, exactly. We would have impossible. The rig. You'd have one pulling the focus, and then you have the other one actually pulling the zoom back. It was never right.
No.
It was absolutely never right. So here it's pretty much done for you. It's a no-brainer. Once again, this is another device that Uncle Buck will be able to purchase and put us out of business.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, but Uncle Buck squatting down at the end of the aisle there, doing his zoom.
Yeah, exactly. So Canon, besides this PZE-1 that they came up with, the power zoom, which is amazing, they also came up. They said, well, we also need some type of mic. Right. Yeah. Everyone's buying the Rode mic, which is, that shotgun mic from Rode is awesome. I have a couple.
Yeah, kind of industry
So
standard.
they came up with their own, right?
Yeah, kind of industry standard, that Rode mic for, a shotgun DSLR mounted mic. I mean, you see them everywhere. And now they've got their own, the DME one.
Right.
And that looks very similar. It mounts up top in the hot shoe. And it'll grab great reference audio.
Yeah.
I mean, really good, and it's $250. So I mean, it's in comparable area to the Rode mics. So now you can buy Canon brand.
Yeah. So I mean, so now looking at this whole kit of this brand new, let's call it the brand new release of video on a prosumer level, you're looking at $1,200 for the camera itself, for the body. You're looking at $600 for that kit lens. I bet you if they put it together as a kit, it's going to be even less than that.
Yeah.
$149 for that power zoom device, and then $249. So for probably, I'm going to say right around $2,000 when it's all said and done, you will have an amazing piece of kit that you can do video. Now, like you said, it won't be full length video. You're not going to capture an entire reception with it, but for doing all of the little segments and putting them together in post later on, I mean, it's going to be perfect.
Yeah,
I think it would be great.
I mean, doing studio work, I mean, location work. I mean, bro, this would be good for us, right? For doing a show.
Sure.
I mean, we could utilize something like this camera to record the show, maybe pop the video out into an external recorder. Right. I mean, it really would. And for the money, it's not bad.
No, absolutely not. So Canon also released another camera. This would be more on the consumer base, which would be another PowerShot. I do like Canon's PowerShot. It is a really good camera for the money. And it's the G7X, but it's the Mark II.
Yep.
That also looks pretty good too.
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, 1-inch, 20 megapixel sensor, which is great. We're getting there. That's good for a small point and shoot. 8 frames per second, 1080 video. Again, at 60 frames per second. That's great. Awesome, right? Yeah,
and then ISO up to 25,600. That's great range right there. And obviously, we have a 1-inch sensor, so it should be able to pull that off without an issue, I'm going to imagine. And it's going from 1.8 up to 2.8 as far as the aperture, which is good. And you're getting up to, I think it's like a 4.2 optical zoom. So that's fantastic. Also, you figure the equivalent to a 24 millimeter up to 100 millimeter if you look at it at 35 millimeter lens type of
which is a really nice range.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's a great range. Image stabilization, and once again, they finally get it right. Yeah. What do we get? Wi-Fi and NFC. Fantastic.
Yeah, all for $700 with the pre-order. So now let's think about this, bro. We've been talking about Canon kind of being behind the 8 ball here with their mirrorless technology, with their mirrorless cameras, the EOS M line, and how there's been a lot of talks about, Canon really investing in mirrorless in 2016. Looking at the technologies that they've incorporated in this series of parts, the body, the couple cameras here, the lens and stuff, really makes you think. Now, if they take this technology, incorporate it into a mirrorless body that can utilize these EFS lenses, if they go with an APS-C size sensor rather than a full frame, this really opens up some interesting possibilities as to what could be presented this year.
They need to go full frame. Sony's full frame, they need to go full frame. APS-C is just not going to be good enough.
Yep.
They need to come up with a full frame. I mean, their C100, C300, those video cameras that they have out there that I've used that are just phenomenal, just beautiful.
Right.
They can take some of that technology and work it in, I'm sure. They need to go mirrorless. They need to go full frame. Now, I tell you what, we've been talking a lot about Sony and, their A7 line, the A7 S2 and the A7 R2. The S2 was 12 megapixels, the R2 was 43 megapixels.
Right.
And we've been doing a lot of talking about it. We've seen a lot of reviews, a lot of people, pushing them and saying that it is the technology to beat. I rented in the A7 S2. I did a video on it. If you guys haven't seen it, I'll put a little link down below, or we'll put a little window here in this box, and you can click on it to go watch that video. You'll see that it's not, let's say all that it's cracked up to be. After that, I just finished renting in a R2. So it's the Sony Alpha A7 R2, which is the 43 megapixel version, guys. And I just finished that review, and that's going to be going live momentarily. So probably when this drops, you'll probably be able to see that video also. You know, I would say go look at that because it's going to give you an idea of where Sony's at right now.
Yep.
And you might really kind of think twice about how far advanced they are as of this moment. So it was amazing to me to do that review and actually to see it and work at it, with my own two hands in comparison to always reading reviews and, tech specs and, all of the reports and, all of the PR stuff. When you actually use these things, for a week straight after renting it, you really get an idea of what it does and what it doesn't do. And I think next week I would like to talk to you guys more about it. And I kind of want to let the cat out of the bag, as they say, as of yet. But next week I really would like to get into it a little bit more, and we can discuss it a little bit more too, Trev.
Yeah, awesome. All right, man. I think we need to roll.
So
if people want to connect with you outside of the show, what's the best way for them to reach you?
So, all right, guys, you can find me on Twitter, and that's at Joseph Cristina, and that's Cristina without an H.
Great, and you can connect with me on Twitter. It's at Trevor Curran.
So, all right, guys, we are out of here for yet another week. You can get all the show notes from this episode by visiting digitalphotographycafe.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/dphotocafe. And we'll see you next week.
You've been watching the Digital Photography Cafe show with Trevor Curran and Joseph Cristina. Subscribe to our YouTube channel with any compatible device by visiting youtube.com/dphotocafe. Be sure to subscribe to our audio feed through iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox Music apps or through RSS. Visit digitalphotographycafe.com for show notes and to connect with your hosts.